All right, welcome. Today, we are diving into one of the biggest challenges out there for any brand. Just how do you win the battle for attention? I mean, we're all swimming in this endless ocean of digital noise, so how does any message actually get through? Let's figure it out. Just think about your own phone for a second. Every single time you unlock it, you're hit with this tidal wave of content, right? So what is it that actually makes you pause and stop the scroll? Well, we're about to break down 4 pretty brilliant strategies that give us the answer. Okay, so our first strategy, it's all about making a spectacle. It's about doing something so wild, so unexpected, so over the top that you just can't look away. You're basically engineering a moment that people feel like they have to share. Let's take Blendtec, for example. They make these super high-end blenders. Now, instead of just telling you about all the horsepower, they decided to show you. They asked a simple question: will it blend? And then they just started pulverizing everything you can imagine. iPhones, golf balls, you name it. It was completely absurd, totally mesmerizing, and absolutely impossible to ignore. And that right there is a masterclass in viral marketing. The whole idea is to create something so entertaining, so surprising, that your audience basically becomes your marketing department. You see it, you just have to send it to a friend, they send it to their friends, and suddenly it's spreading like wildfire. So, what did all this digital destruction actually do for the company? Well, how about a reported 700% increase in sales? I mean, that's not a typo. That's the power of creating a spectacle. They turned a boring product demo into pure entertainment. And in doing so, they captured millions of eyeballs and turned a whole bunch of them into customers. Okay, the Blendtec campaign was genius, for sure. But the brand was still the one making everything. The next strategy we're going to look at takes this a huge step further. What if you could actually empower your audience to become the creators themselves? And that leads us right to the empowerment solution. This is all about handing over the creative reins to your community and turning people who just buy your stuff into active co-creators of your brand. And you don't have to look any further than Lay's potato chips. Instead of a bunch of executives sitting in a boardroom trying to guess what flavors people might want, Lay's just asked. Their Do Us a Flavor campaign invited millions of their fans to invent and submit ideas for the next great potato chip flavor. This is what we call user-generated content, or UGC for short, and it's a really powerful shift, you know? The brand stops being just a broadcaster and starts becoming a platform for its fans' creativity. Suddenly, people weren't just buying chips anymore, they were personally invested in the brand's future. What's so cool here is how simple the formula really is when you break it down. First, you ask people to get involved. Then, you empower that community to vote and help make the decision. And finally, you prove that you were listening by actually making their choice real. It's just a brilliant way to build an active, super engaged community. So, we've seen how to create a spectacle and how to empower creators. But once you've built that community, you have to listen to it, right? And this is where our third strategy comes in, being hyper-responsive by tuning into all the digital conversations that are already happening out there. I mean, seriously, this looks like something out of a spy movie or NASA headquarters, but it's actually Gatorade's social media command center. They have a team of analysts in here monitoring this constant stream of digital chatter 24/7. They're not just pushing out ads, they are listening intently. So what exactly are they listening for? Pretty much everything. By tracking a high school athlete's tweet about being thirsty after a game, they can jump into a real-time conversation. By spotting new fitness trends the second they start bubbling up, they stay way ahead of the curve. This constant listening lets them solve problems, stay relevant, and be part of the conversation, not just an interruption. And that brings us to our final strategy, which, honestly, might be the most powerful one of all. What if, instead of trying to sell something to someone, a brand just tried to be genuinely useful? So check this out. Merrill Edge, which is a financial planning company, created this app called Face Retirement. You'd upload a photo of yourself, and boom, it would show you what you might look like in your retirement years. It was fun, kind of shocking, and it got people sharing it like crazy. And here's the really crucial part. The app never once screamed, "Hey, invest with us." Not at all. Instead, it gave people a really personal, emotional tool to just think about their future. By providing real utility, Merrill Edge started a conversation about retirement planning in a way that no traditional ad ever could. So when you put all these strategies together, you start to see this really fundamental shift in how brands communicate. It's a huge move away from the old megaphone model of advertising, you know? We've moved from a monologue where brands just talked at you to a dialogue where brands are now talking with you. The audience isn't passive anymore. It's an active community that gets to participate, create, and engage. It's a two-way street now. So, to wrap it all up, here are the 4 pillars we talked about. You can create a spectacle that provides jaw-dropping entertainment like Blendtec. You can give your audience a sense of ownership like Lay's did. You can be hyper-responsive by listening intently like Gatorade. Or you can provide genuine utility that solves a real need like Merrill Edge. These 4 pillars have completely reshaped marketing. So the really obvious question is, what's next? Where is this whole evolving relationship between brands and us, the consumers, actually headed? Well, as technology like AI and the Internet of Things gets woven even deeper into our daily lives, you can bet that those lines are going to blur even more. The dialogue we've been talking about, it's going to become more predictive, more personalized, making that connection between a brand and a consumer almost seamless. And that leaves us with one last really big question to chew on. In a world where we're co-creating products, where we're acting as brand ambassadors, and we're in this constant digital conversation, where does the brand truly end and where do we, the consumers, begin? It's a question that's probably going to define the future of our digital lives. Thanks so much for tuning in.